Hello, everyone. Welcome to NerdChat, NerdRant, the second one we're doing. Today, I am going to be trying to justify is not the right word. Explain, elaborate on how Anakin Skywalker made his fall to Darth Vader. Because if you just watch the movies, it's a very poor showing of all the things that happened to Anakin that caused him to make that jump. Everyone feels like it was such an immediate thing. He just was a Jedi, and then he saw, oh, my wife's dying. Quick, to the dark side, kill younglings. So much more happened to get to that, and there's so much more to the dark side that people don't understand. And today is what I'm going to be trying to cover. So, and the final video for our Star Wars month, let's get into Anakin Skywalker's fall to the dark side. The first point I want to clarify on is the dark side. It's so much more dangerous than it seems to be. It's noted as the quick and easy path, and it is that way for a reason. Turning to the dark side gives you so much more power right away. It makes any simple Force user an immediate major threat by giving into that power. But it's uncontrollable, especially at first. People can learn to master it. It can be mastered. But it's a drug. It's intoxicating. You start using it, and then you start to crave more. You need more. And decisions during that time, nothing really seems like a bad idea to you. It's like being drunk or I don't know, maybe high. I've never been high. But you think of it more even something that everyone can relate to. When you get super angry, it happens to everyone at some point. You get so angry that nothing seems like you can't do it or you shouldn't do it. It doesn't matter to you at the time. But when you look back on it later, you're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have killed those younglings. It probably was a bad idea. That is kind of a similar case, but on a much more extreme scale. Not that I'm trying to justify Anakin killing younglings, because that is irredeemable in my eyes. And I also want to make a very clear point that I didn't state earlier. This is not an analyzation of Hayden Christensen's acting. This is about Anakin Skywalker, the character in itself, not about the acting or the outside of the movie. You should have watched last week's video if you want to know more about that. Back to the dark side. It's a rush of power. And once you get a taste of it, you crave more. You need more, and you will do anything you can to get more of it. And that is what happened to Anakin. He had minor bits and tastes of it throughout the Clone Wars and throughout his other early trainings. But once he cut off Master Windu's hand and helped Sidious and realized that was what he needed to do to save Padme, instantly was willing to do anything he could to get more power. The next point I need to get to is Anakin's early life. Anakin was born in slavery. He was raised just by his mother, but in slavery, he was still a slave. And that was the only life he knew. But because of that, he became very close to his mother, very attached to her. And then Qui-Gon came into his life, and then after all the events of Episode 1, he was able to be brought into the Jedi Order. But he left home at an early age, and that's hard to do. He was 9 years old in Episode 1, and he left everything that he knew. And he left his mother to still be a slave. And also, it's never made perfectly clear when Shimmy says there was no father about whether that birth was immaculate or not. But it's very widely believed that that was the case. So there was no father. Anakin was literally made out of the Force. And a very widely accepted opinion of that is that he was actually created by Darth Plagueis the Wise, and with the help of Palpatine. Meaning that he was made out of dark side energy. That sets him off on an immediate negative course from the start. He was doomed to fall to the dark side, and he was fighting that temptation his entire life. My third point is Anakin was the chosen one, and there's a lot of pressure on him to be the chosen one. Bring balance to the Force, destroy the Sith. That's a big task to toss on a 9-year-old. There was a lot just constantly expected of him because, one, he was brought in at an older age. Most Jedi start being brought into the temple at almost still infancy. So they've been raised and know nothing but the Jedi life their entire life. Anakin was brought in at 9. So not only did he not already fit in with his classmates, because they've already been doing this for several years together, and now he has to play catch up, But also, he's still treated differently than all the others because he's the chosen one, which kids don't understand what that even means. But Anakin was living up to that reputation as the chosen one. As he went on, especially throughout the Clone Wars, he won battle after battle. He progressed to knight faster than anyone else. He didn't even have to really take the trials. And he was incredible. Everyone knew who General Skywalker was. And he was enormously successful at leading his troops. And the movies do a really poor job explaining how powerful Anakin truly was. He was immensely strong. He had a stronger natural connection to the Force that no one ever had in canon. And it really showed. It really showed in the Clone Wars. The best example of this was his time on Mortis. Mortis is, we don't really know. It's a realm that it just kind of appeared. But anyway, what happened was Anakin got sucked into it on a space mission, and he, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and his Padawan Ahsoka all got brought to this planet. They met 3 people: the father, the daughter, and the son. And the best way I can explain what they are is they were pretty much embodiments of the Force. They were still people, but they were immensely powerful. And the father needed to know that Anakin truly was the chosen one, so he tested him. And he had the son pick up Obi-Wan, and the daughter pick up Ahsoka, because they turned into like dragon creatures or something. Either way, Anakin had the choice. He had to choose to save one or the other to prove that he was stronger. And Anakin saved them both by having this epic moment where he just grabbed one and grabbed the other and submitted them to their knees and turned them back into human forms to show how strong Anakin truly was. And he went through quite a few other trials while he's still on that planet. He even got to see the future of what he would turn into. Of course, his memories got erased, and that's a whole dumb thing. But Anakin truly was the chosen one. And that did get proven in Episode 6. He did destroy the Sith by destroying the Emperor and letting himself die as a sacrifice to Luke. He did fulfill that prophecy. It just didn't take the most direct route that the Jedi expected him to. Overall, Anakin was immensely powerful. And having all that power, the temptation to the dark side is even stronger to him. Because he wants to save the galaxy. He wants to fulfill his destiny, but he doesn't feel he's strong enough to do it, where the dark side offers that extra power to get him from one goal to the next. On to my next point. Anakin was constantly losing faith in the Jedi Order. Because he was brought in at an older age than typical, he already knew what love and compassion was to experience those things. He had love for his mother. He had compassion for fellow people. Which is not to say that the Jedi don't care about people, but they're supposed to not have feelings of love or emotions. That's what the Jedi Code states. And Anakin had a very difficult time adjusting to that. He never let go of his love for his mother. And it's not exactly a bad thing, but it was a very important part of why he fell to the dark side. When Anakin was in the Clone Wars, he was in charge of the 501st Battalion. And easily, I could say that Anakin had more care for his clones than any other Jedi did for their troops. And unlike a lot of other Jedi, Anakin had an immense care for his Padawan. Oh, what's that? Anakin had a Padawan? Yeah, I know, you didn't watch the Clone Wars. Anakin had a Padawan named Ahsoka Tano, and she was awesome. If you didn't watch the Clone Wars, it's why you didn't know a lot of these points about what happened to Anakin. Because a lot of it happened to him during those years. During the Clone Wars, Anakin had a Padawan, Ahsoka Tano, and like I said, she was awesome. She's super great character, and she really respected Anakin. And it was a lot of it because of his different ways of following the Jedi Code. Because he didn't follow it the same way that Obi-Wan and everyone else did. He broke the rules a lot. He disobeyed the order. And he saved a lot more people than most would because of that. He was able to pass these teachings on to Ahsoka, and it's what turned her into the phenomenal hero that she ended up being. There was a mission throughout in the Clone Wars where Ahsoka and a fellow Padawan got lost. They got trapped, and they were assumed to be dead, but Anakin refused to accept that. The Jedi Master he was with was just like, well, they're dead. And we're not supposed to have attachment, we're not supposed to have feelings. And we need to move on. We need to leave. And Anakin refused. Anakin refused to give up until he knew that Ahsoka was safe. And he rescued her. He saved her because he didn't give up. Whereas another Jedi was supposed to just say, well, we're not supposed to have attachment, so we just leave. That's that. But his constant compassion and care for his fellow man, his fellow Jedi, the clones, that's what put him above the rest. And even though it is partially what ultimately ended up to his downfall is his feelings, it's still what made him so much of a better Jedi. Also, Anakin had made it not clear, but he did bring up a point when he met Tarkin for the first time, who later served under him when he was Vader. Tarkin didn't agree with the Jedi leading the war effort. Anakin didn't really disagree with his views. The Jedi, he claimed, are peacekeepers. They're not soldiers. They're not supposed to be in conflict of this sort. So they're not really fit to lead because of the Jedi's views and ways of doing things. It held them back from being able to accomplish their goals. So sometimes hold them back from maybe ending the war sooner because of the way that the Jedi do things wasn't that of soldiers. They weren't always able to go far enough to accomplish the goal. And Anakin didn't really disagree with that. He agreed that maybe the Jedi should either change their ways in order to be able to be effective generals or be pulled out altogether. Which, he wasn't really wrong. Obviously, the next point is what was the major thing of what turned Anakin altogether, and that was losing loved ones. He lost his mother the first time they left when, he had to give up his life. He had to leave his mother behind while she was still a slave to go along with Qui-Gon, so he could become a Jedi. Which leaving home at age 9 and living behind your mother, the person who's raised you your entire life, that can't be easy for any child. That's a very difficult thing to get past. And then he lost Qui-Gon, who was supposed to be taking care of him. Qui-Gon died fighting Maul. And Obi-Wan took over from there, which was great. But that's still 2 people that he lost right then and there over the course of days. Actually, I think it was all the same day. Either way, that's 2 major losses. Then, in episode 2, he lost his mother again, which was a huge problem. To think about what affected, I think, Anakin so much is to realize that the Jedi didn't have such restrictions on love and compassion and feelings. Anakin's mother would still be alive. If Anakin was still allowed to be in contact with his mother, he would have known that something happened to her. Because they had search parties looking for her, for Shmi, for months, and they didn't find her. Anakin found her in like 2 hours. If he would have been able to be a help earlier on, she would still be alive. And then maybe Anakin wouldn't have fallen because his mother wouldn't have suffered in this way. It's a domino effect. Then after that, he lost Ahsoka. Ahsoka got falsely accused of a bombing in the Jedi archives, killing a couple Jedi and several clones. The Order, because clones were killed in that process, it was taken out of the Order's hands. The Jedi weren't allowed to handle it anymore, but they didn't really do anything to help Ahsoka. They called for her death. They wanted her executed for killing clones, and the Order wasn't going to do anything about it. Anakin didn't give up on her, though. He found out who it was, and he cleared her name, and she was set free. The Jedi, the Council decided to let Ahsoka come back, and they said that she can even come back as a knight. She doesn't have to take the trial. She's already passed anything that they would have to test her. And she said no. She refused to come back. And I don't blame her for doing so, and neither did Anakin. Anakin told her when she refused, she's like, no, they refused to help me. You helped me, but they did nothing. You believed me, but no one else would, and she can't stand by that order anymore. And Anakin told her there that he understands wanting to leave the Jedi Order. He agrees, but he needs to stay there because that's where he can help. So Ahsoka left, which is why you don't see her in episode 3, because she was gone. And then, obviously, as we know in episode 3, he lost his wife. He was having visions of her dying, and it was what was viewed in that movie as the only point that moved Anakin. It was really just the final straw. Anakin was sick of losing people that he cared about. So now not only was he going to lose his wife, but his wife was now pregnant with, well, he only thought one child. But that's more family that he's losing. And Anakin can't handle that loss, as we've seen before. It really affects him heavily. He slaughtered sand people when his mother was taken. Now, what would he do to save his wife and now newborn child? He's already under enough pressure as is, being the chosen one, being at war. And this brings me to my final point. He was young. Episode 3, he is 23 years old. I'm 25. At 23 years old, I was just working paycheck to paycheck and living in an apartment that cost way too much money. If an old trusted friend came to me and said, hey, I can clear up literally all of your problems, I'd listen to him. I'd be like, awesome, sure, thank you. Do whatever, what do I need to do to make all of my problems go away? This kid had been to war, led men into battle, men that died. People died because of decisions that he made, but he was still doing it because it's what needed to be done. And he is the chosen one. So not only is he going to war and leading men in the battle who are dying, men that he cared about, he had a Padawan that he had to watch after and basically raise to be a proper Jedi. He was losing all the people he cared about. He lost his mother, and death and war is all around him. And he's 23 years old. He's still a kid, and he had been a kid for this entire thing. This is how he was raised. He was raised in battle. And then he had his wife, which is the only time that he had any break from all of this. And now he's going to lose her too. So it's more than just, oh, I want to save my wife. It's his wife is his world. Padme is, I mean, what would you do to save Natalie Portman if she was your wife? I would do a lot. The point is that Anakin had just been being poked and prodded at the dark side his entire life. And on top of all of these other things, Palpatine was a trusted friend. He had known Anakin since Anakin had been brought into the Order, and he had been keeping an eye on him, trying to lure him towards the dark side over all this time. It came to a point where all the points that Palpatine was making sounded like a pretty good idea. Until his mind got so diluted and warped that he needed to start exterminating Jedi, because that's what Palpatine said, and he's like, well, that sounds like a good idea, because he was flooded with the drunken power of the dark side. It was so many things that brought him all to that point, and that's the thing that people miss. Not that he was right to do so, but there was so much more behind the scenes, and a lot of it, on top of all the other points that I've made right now, it was Palpatine. You need to understand who Darth Sidious truly was. He wasn't just some old man in a robe with a lightsaber and a lot of lightning coming out of his fingertips. He was a master of the dark side, and of any ability more than others, his ability to deceive people, to get them to do what he wanted. That's how he could be a Sith Lord, working as the Chancellor. Because he's the most public figure that the Republic sees, and the Jedi did not notice that he was a Sith Lord. He was able to deceive everyone, and he had been prodding Anakin towards the dark side his entire life, telling him everything he wanted to hear, telling him exactly what he needed to do, and telling him what he deserves, because he's the chosen one. Anakin is the chosen one. He needs to be treated as such. He's special. He deserves more. He should be the most powerful Jedi. Everyone is holding him back. Everyone is making sure that he doesn't raise to power, because he deserves that power, but no one wants him to have it, because that's not the Jedi way. Those are all the things that was constantly being told to Anakin by him, and this is an old trusted friend. The closest thing to a father he ever really had, aside from Obi-Wan. But Obi-Wan was a Jedi. And Palpatine was what Anakin saw more as a real person. It gave him the kind of companionship that he had before he had joined the Jedi Order with a bunch of emotionless drones. And that's ultimately what the major thing was. Throughout Anakin's life from 9 to 23, has just been Sidious pushing him towards the dark side. And every opportunity that he got from all the other things that happened in Anakin's life, Sidious took every chance he could to keep pushing Anakin towards the dark side until finally he had a chance to shove. When Padme was, he knew about Padme dying in childbirth, which of course we know the events of what ended up happening is what caused that. Anakin was desperate. He was a desperate kid that just wanted all of his problems to be fixed and go away. He didn't want to be at war anymore. He didn't want to keep hiding these secrets. He just wanted to be happy and live with his wife. And then the dark side flooded over him, and he made a very long line of bad decisions. But that's what happened. That's the story of Anakin's fall. And I hope that this video helped to clarify that and makes the prequels a little more watchable for you. So if you get anything out of that, I hope that you can appreciate episodes, at least 2 and 3, a little more. I didn't really help anything with 1. Just fast forward to the end where they have a cool lightsaber battle.
Hey everyone, this is Josh from the video that you've been watching. We recorded this video a few weeks ago, but today is December 27th, where we are finishing the edits and uploading it. And typically at this point of our videos where we'll play something goofy that happened behind the camera or whatever, when like I messed up a line or something funny. But today it didn't seem right wrapping up Star Wars month, and with what happened this morning, to upload something like that. Carrie Fisher passed away this morning, as we all know. She was Princess Leia, and it's a loss for nerds everywhere. It's a shame. It really is. Princess Leia is almost every Star Wars fan's first crush, and well, obviously I'll move on from this, but it is a shame. Princess Leia was an icon to nerds, especially women everywhere. Shows that she could be more than just a damsel in distress. That wasn't who Princess Leia was. She started to look that way, but once she was released, she took charge. She's not just a princess; she's a general, and it's a shame. The movies the next 2 are not going to be the same without her. I guess she'll still be an 8, but it sucks. It does. Our thoughts go out to the family. And the other people from NerdChat wanted to say something as well, but they're all off still doing things with, family members and whatnot for Christmas. So we just wanted to say something about it. So she'll be missed for sure, but she's one with the Force. The Force is with us. So she'll always live on forever as Princess Leia. And no one's ever going to take that immortalization away from her. Princess Leia isn't going anywhere, regardless of what happened to her, and she'll always live on through that. So, thanks for a minute of your guys' time. On to the end card. Thanks.
All right, thanks guys for watching that video. I really hope that it did help. It's the last video of our Star Wars month of December. So I hope you had a chance to go see Rogue One, because I saw it 3 times already at the time of this recording, and it's only been out for 3 days. But I do hope that helped with justifying Anakin's fall a little bit more. I hope that you did learn something out of all this. So, thanks for watching. If you want more like this, you can check out some of our other videos. We had a whole bunch of other Star Wars videos this month. So you can click over here for that. This will just be a link to our last video. Down here will be another video. I don't know, Death Star. Boom, Death Star. And yeah, press up here to subscribe to us. And down here, if you want to go check out our Let's Play channel, if you're tired of my face but not my voice, you can watch us play some games. But thanks for watching, and you guys have a great day.